Hello and welcome. This time we'll focus on 3 Highlander decks. And first we'll start with Hunter. Core of the deck is just like from Saviors of Uldum, but right now we've got few new additions and I want to mainly focus on them. The biggest and the strongest card right now in all those Highlander decks is Dragon Queen. You definitely need to craft this one. Also, it will allow you to gain alternative win condition, but it all depends from the RNG. Imagine that you will get the Malleus and then you can deal even more points of damage with, for example, Kill Command. But you know, this is not the reliable win condition, but most of the times you will just get a really powerful tempo swing, especially if you will develop all those minions just on turn 9. Also, during the early game, we've got only few options, like for example Blazing Battle Mage or also Dwarven, but this card is amazing because finally we can use hero power in a defensive way in Hunter, which is not a common thing, and also Blizzard tries to make it, you know, more or less possible, but maybe finally this will be good enough because it's super cheap and also at the same time you can just develop this early on just for stats. Also a single target removal, which is not the biggest and the strongest thing ever, but still it will take down most of the minions, especially during the early game. Then Griffin, I really like this card, it's amazing. Most of the times you will just kill minion right away and also card draw on top of it. So if you will compare this to, for example, let's say Acolyte of Pain, this card is way better. Not only you've got a specific thing on top of it, so you can trade, but also you will get a specific card, which will be most of the times faceless. Also, card draw is pretty important in this kind of deck, so that's why we've got Versatron and also Tracking. You might think, okay, but this will be a little bit problematic, but Hunter can still be pretty aggressive. At some point, if you will use your hero power pretty often, you can switch from some sort of like a mid-rangey Highlander style to be a pretty aggressive deck, and then you can just like find a specific good card a little bit earlier on. This is not like this one of those decks that will take game up to fatigue. And then also few win conditions and board clears, so like most of the times if you want to apply even more pressure, of course, Dino Tamer, Zul'jin to replay all those spells and create a pretty nice board, especially with Unleash the Beast. And because of this twin spell, you will also get another copy of this card in your hand, but it won't have a twin spell. And also, if you would like to clear the board, also it's possible with this dragon, and you can also play Unleash the Hounds, so not only you will develop a pretty big minion, but you will clear something that will pop up. I already played with Highlander Mage and I have to say this works pretty well. This version is slightly more defensive and tries to focus on big spells. Dragoncaster and also Turtleon will allow you to cheat out big spell, like for example Blizzard, Flame Strike, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, in order to speed up the game, and Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron. You might say, oh, okay, but it's super random, but at the same time you will develop the board, destroy your opponent board and get a bunch of cards. At least this kind of thing should happen if you're not super unlucky like me. During the early game you want to mainly focus on defensive options, like for example Ancient Mysteries, in order to get the Flame Ward or Ice Barrier. Also, you've got the second copy of the Doomsayer and the Doomsayer itself that you can combine with the Frost Nova, and because Silence is not super popular, this should work out. Also a Cocaine Brief, which works with dragons, and at the same time you will be able to kill a small minion. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, try to rush Molten Giant. You will be forced to skip few turns, but it will be worth it. And also, new addition, Malleus, that will discover a spell that will be 2 times or 3 times way more powerful than the normal one. And surprisingly, our last deck is Rogue. This is not designed to be a Highlander version, but it still works pretty well because core is just like tempo / aggressive rogue, and then as a bonus we've got just a powerful things that we can benefit, like Dragon Queen for a tempo swing, and of course Zephyrus, that most of the times will give us lethal damage because we can play pretty aggressively. Also, of course, Leroy as a finisher, and also you can find this card super useful. I think like this Deferral underperforms a little bit because it alone it's super weak, but when you will combine this and get this bonus pretty early on, it can give you a ton of damage, especially during the mid game. Also, the new addition, Flick, and also Magger helps you a little bit because you will be able to just trade into something right away and of course get a card on top of it, and those stats are pretty okay. So during the early game, most of the times you want to play on curve, for example go for the cat or the Flybooter, Wisp in order to trigger any kind of combo effect, or evil cable rot, or just hero power to then follow this up on turn 3 with the Henge Clan tag. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next deck showcases.